Right, wet bum. So I'm doing my hashtag Wex at Home challenge, and it's snowing in London for the first time that I've ever seen, because I usually sleep through it. My hashtag Wex at Home challenge was to photograph things that represent a sound of some kind. Now, I had a few ideas and we got really lucky. It was snowing today. So I popped outside with the Lumix S5, obviously my GH5 as well, so I could actually film myself doing what I was doing. But I was photographing on the S5, which I know is mainly advertised as a video camera, but it does have a 24.2 megapixel sensor on there, and that is a full frame sensor too, and it takes raw stills. So I kind of thought, well, that's all you really need. Having that video functionality as well, it is a brilliant camera for anybody who dabbles in a bit of both video and photo. So I used it in photo for this time. Right, so something else I'm going to be doing for this video is I'm going to be using the Lumix S5, but I'm going to also be using my phone with it. There's a really useful app which allows you to basically control your Lumix cameras using your phone as the remote for it, and it also gives you like a preview of what you're seeing. It just gives you a shutter button or a video record button, whichever mode that you're in. And I'm just going to use that so that I can actually do actions on this snowy table whilst also operating the camera at the same time. Just allows me to not have to ask someone to model in for me. You know, everyone's working from home, so it kind of helps me not having to disturb people. Also means I can just work on my own, so I'm not needing to rely on favors from people who don't really owe me anything. So that's good. As you can see on my screen monitor, is that I'm actually in focus around around this area where the plant pot was, which was right here, which is really good. Whee! Now, I'm aware that the stills I got outside weren't necessarily the best. It was very cold and I am working on my own. The app works really well for remote shooting, particularly if you're in a really low shutter speed, or if you're doing a long exposure, for instance. It really reduces that shake because all you're doing is touching the shutter button that's on your phone app, then your camera will take a photo, and you've not got your hands on there pressing that button in. That's potentially going to shake your shot about. So we've just been doing some shooting in the snow. Now I'm fancying a bit of coffee. Got my lights, got 2 nan lights here to give some colourful backlighting to my setup. Let's see what we got, just quickly. The shutter speed's not too great, mainly because I had to boost my ISO massively in order to get the exposure to be okay. Something that I learned on the way of shooting with this challenge in mind was that to capture a sound in an image, you're generally not focusing on the sound itself, you're more wanting the action that represents the sound. So say the hammer hitting a brick, you want the moment that the hammer impacts that object. That's where the sound comes from, and that's when you see that picture, that sound would resonate with your imagination and with your memories of having heard a similar sound to that before. Coming to the hammer shot in question right here, it's actually not just a singular shot of me hitting a brick with a hammer at all. It's actually 2. One of them is the action shot, where I'm actually hitting the brick with a hammer, which is the one that you're seeing here. What I did after taking this shot was I just took a still of me holding the hammer against the table, so I could get a nice crisp still shot of that. And then I brought both of these shots into Photoshop. And I'm not a Photoshop wizard or anything, but I used what tools I had available to me that I knew of, and I just made a mask around the hammer and my glove, and I just comped them into the photograph that is below it, which is the motion blurry one. And I think when you comp these together, it just makes a really nice effect. I think the motion blur gives that sense of resonating sound in a visual way. And then I think that having the stillness of the hammer against the table amongst all this motion blur is just what completes the image overall. So that's been my Wex at Home challenge for this week. Here's a few extra shots that I got along the way in the midst of editing this video, and that's been about it. I hope this video was at the very least interesting. There is a link in the description for the Lumix S5 with the kit lens, so if you want to check that out, then you can hop onto our store page and there's loads of information on there for you guys to read up about. Plus you can also place an order for yourself if you fancy getting one. I would also like to add that if you are not subscribed to our channel, then please do so. If you like this kind of content, we've got loads more on the way. We make videos every week, so to make sure you don't miss out on any, I would subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of it. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.